good way to like restart. There's not like a reset of the sequence, so I just have to go back to the last save point. I've never had that happen before. It was pretty exciting. Yep. Okay. And we should be back now. Yeah, that was John.
December 13th.
Sorry about that, guys. That's never happened before. It's kind of fun, I guess,
Diary.
but...
I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen.
Somehow eating the guy shot
dinner.
me out of bounds.
I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Nah, he's doing other stuff. He's just in here chilling.
I kept eating and eating. I ate a lot of things that night.
Yep. Not sure what all you actually have to
done, I didn't mind it.
Eat before the bird shows up. I guess that's it.
Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her.
Well, in case you guys missed anything the first time.
And suddenly, I was a cat. I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Edith Finch speed run now. Come on.
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
Still confused by the bell that she's wearing? Why? You never given your pet a bell before?
Rabbits.
I feel like that's a fairly common thing.
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger. A mama rabbit.
Alrighty.
She was almost
Got the rabbits. Now we'll be back to the shark in a second.
I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
It's just flopping around. Ah!
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was
As a
hungrier
cat,
than
she
ever.
only has the bell as a cat, but she's not a pet, so why does she suddenly have a bell on and then suddenly not have it? That's what I'm confused about, too. So you're not confused by the fact that she just turned into a shark?
I wanted fat, juicy seals. I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
Where'd he go? Come on. He's dodging. There he is. What? Wow. I've been thwarted by a seal. For being a shark, my sense of smell is apparently very bad. There he is. What's confusing about turning into a shark? I do it all the time. Really?
Grabbed on tight. But I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed. Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
Well, to be fair, she did eat some holly, and I don't know what all that does to you. Oop. So she could be going a little delusional. She knows that she's very hungry. Got sent to bed without food.
I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Alright, we're gonna hope this time that I do not accidentally shoot off into the sky. Which means those guys get to live.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Just going right for the end. Ow! That'd be painful.
After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Can any of you guys guess where we're going?
I got closer and closer. All my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was weak again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to be, and we both know I will be delicious.
Story number 1.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
That one's definitely one of the more obscure ones, but
I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here before my mom sealed the doors.
In the end, like, you could still look at it. She just ate some rotten stuff. Yeah. But now we're outside.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
Did you not see any of that, Connor? As you can see, the Finches are not the only ones. Well, never mind, there are a lot of Finches who have met their demise there.
Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious. I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time. One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity. When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
That was the slide out front.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
There's a dragon.
Her room was like a museum. Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Now for some backstory with Odin.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune.
Do you guys know what this thing is called? Is it a
Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family
viewfinder
curse,
or something like that?
his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island.
You got a haircut, Josh? Dude, that's awesome.
Odin Finch is the first.
Yo,
to be buried
send
in
me a
the
picture. I
family
want to see what it looks like.
cemetery. His
Like
daughter
just in
Edie is
town,
already
or
dreaming
like-
of a new Finch house.
Like your mom or something. So basically, they
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
the house has been, the family's been cursed for a very long time. But you can see Odin try to get away from it by moving to America, and it didn't pan out so well. I mean, you only missed one story. There was a dragon. So you missed Molly's story when she was about 10 years old when she died. She wound up eating a lot of rotten stuff. But it's a very unique one to play through, so yeah, maybe go back and watch them.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife, Kay, left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Tabor. Remember, you can always go back and see what you missed if you want to. But I hope you have a good night. See that frog? Remember that frog.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Ooh. Never finished that Ethan is Missing or whatever it was called. We did. It's called The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. That was the first one we ever played. Turns out we were just really bad at it. I could not, for the life of me, I couldn't figure out the main mechanic of the game, which is a terrible thing from a game design standpoint, but it is on...
gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
It is on the Renewed Horizon VOD channel, so if you ever miss a stream, you can go back and watch them on there. And also had a really bad ending. Yeah, Matthew was very dissatisfied with the ending. I was okay with it. It just wasn't a good game overall, so I wasn't expecting much. It's a solid, probably I don't know, 7 out of 10 game. Yeah, if even that, maybe 6 out of 10. I don't know. I think it would have been 7 out of 10 if I had figured out the whole detective thing sooner, but by then I was kind of frustrated. Yeah, I mean, not bad. It's just I'd rather play through this game probably twice than the other game. And this is the 4th time I've played this game. So this is Sam and Calvin's room. It's pretty cool design and stuff. You can learn a lot about them from this
Sam
room.
Had a twin. And that he never talked about him.
So I'm going to play through this story, then I'll point out some of the other things.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
So this is Calvin's story.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't.
I like this part because you control his legs with the sticks, so I can do things like this.
I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready!
Coming!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it.
Also, I think we had a couple other people join, so welcome. We are playing through all of What
I
Remains of
told him
Edith
going
Finch
around was
today.
impossible.
Takes about around
Maybe if I hadn't said
2.5 hours, and we're about a half hour in.
Calvin! I'm not gonna tell you again!
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it.
Oh
I
snap.
think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother. That's the day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Yeah, bye.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Have a great time. Oh, you gotta head out, Josh? No, that's too bad. Catch you next time. That scene gave you really bad vertigo.
After the funeral,
Oh,
he
okay.
roped off Calvin.
See, I was gonna say I didn't say anything. I was pretty sure that that's what you meant, but everyone else said bye, so I didn't want to like not say anything, you know. Yeah.
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
So his brother died at a young age, an accident on the swing, and that was Calvin. But then Sam went off to the war. But there's some interesting details in this room, like this. As you can see, they're keeping track of how tall they're going, and Calvin stops about halfway through. Things like Sam went off and graduated high school. Or wait. Sort of. Not exactly high school. It's some sort of school. And he went to the army and stuff. I really like these trees back here. That's cool. Yeah, there's a lot of details. Sam is clearly into hunting. And, yeah. Calvin wanted to fly, though. And that's how Sam chose to remember him. Dude, if my house had all these secret passages, man. You guys ever do that when you were younger? Like design a design like a house that you'd want to live
The
in.
passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Oh, I didn't even notice that part really. But yeah, so you can get back outside this way. My house changes a lot though. Eek, Milton. More signs of Milton. Mine always had like
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
the basement was like a game room, had like a vending machine, arcade
I
cabinets,
never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
all that kind of stuff. Definitely like a cool loft thing in the top of a house, like a secret attic. So this is Barbara, which I do talk about her story in the video. It's the first one I actually talk about in the video. And yeah, this one's a little bit spooky.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend,
Thanks, Rick.
was about to demonstrate.
Is that cake? It was cake.
Now that was a
Very
great
old
three.
cake.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding
Yeah,
until
well, cake's no
finally
good.
the key pops out.
Man, I want
Thanks,
cake though.
I'll be back in a sec.
What? There was a
20
secret key?
minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue.
I wonder if there's any cupcakes left downstairs.
She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
Take that! Aww.
Oh!
Rick?
Barb, relax.
Oops.
I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you're...
It's true.
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Foreshadowing.
it was.
Safe?
At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
Is it freezing? It's not on my end. Sorry about that, Connor.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true.
Oh, it was all a surprise.
What kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous.
Or maybe not.
With her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Yeah, that one's a little wild. Oof. Also, one of the
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
a little more obscure ones. Not as obscure as Molly, I don't think, but
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
you think that one's weirder? But now we know. Aha. Looks a little different when it's not all hyper stylized. Why is there so much secrecy? That's a good question,
Mom said
Josh.
the
Why do you
basement
think
was
so?
off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
To the house and stuff, yeah.
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
Because why wouldn't there be secrecy? We will have to find out. What do you guys think? Why would her mom try and keep a lot of it a secret?
I thought maybe she was hiding presents.
What's in the fridge?
It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
Someone's living down here, I guess. Because she is evil. If you want to get into the wild theories,
I remember asking
yeah.
Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could.
But also consider she's protecting the butler. No. If you... Every lemon is lemon? What? What the heck is that supposed to be? Every villain is lemon? Okay. Consider maybe if your family had been cursed and all your kids and everything kept dying or whatever, all this tragedy and stuff, if you didn't want your kids to like grow up knowing about all that they wouldn't have that to like...
If there's a pattern in all these stories...
to already feel doomed, you know? Maybe that's what her mom is trying to do, to like block it out. Also, he is very stocked up. He's got peanut butter, jelly, pea soup. Oh. Yeah, I didn't get that quote either, Paige, sorry.
I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
This is actually my favorite story in the game, I think.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine.
This is how well our can opener works. It's like...
That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today.
Time to down some peaches.
I always expected to be dead tomorrow. But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything.
Seriously, we just need to buy some new ones.
Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly.
Pay attention to that calendar on the left.
And then one day, everything just stopped.
The can opener works fine.
Whatever that thing was,
in this game,
it was
maybe, not in
gone.
the real world.
Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave. Well, I still can.
Time to skedaddle.
I know it's out there, somewhere.
Yes. Alvin O's cereal. Is that a koala?
Whatever killed Barbara
30 years, yep.
and Molly
Hiding away from this monster.
and Calvin.
That's taken all of his siblings.
Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me.
Sounds fun. Did you go into quarantine at all, Josh? It gets
Whatever's
pretty
out
rough.
there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left. Or a month. Or a single week.
Yeah, Paige would probably die.
I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
You'd be correct there, Josh.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
Also, this is his view of the outside. It's just a painting. Wait, how would he even get to those books that are behind the ladder?
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter.
Oh. Oops, sorry. I wasn't paying attention. Wait, was the rumbling the train the whole time? Hey, Connor's catching on to some of this stuff. You would be correct.
But if
Oh, it
she
is a
never
koala.
told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding.
There's the
I don't want to make the same
garbage.
mistakes she made.
Yep, the train was the rumbling the whole time. Oh, the chair just sunk on me.
Trying to bury something that's still alive.
I realize how bad that sign is out there.
What?
I know. I noticed that too when I walked in. Is it usually not on?
Yeah,
Now that there's
I
only
think
one
it's
of us
usually
left.
on.
Or
I don't know.
I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself. And
She's
that it
been
would
dropping
happen to
some hints,
everyone else.
guys.
But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse.
Yeah, Andrew
We made it
came in
real.
here for a second. And then made the curse real by believing in it? Question mark? I really like this shot. Just stand out here for a while. She's gonna hit by a train too? Maybe. Oh, I never noticed these.
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
That's wild. Dang, the boys. Yeah, they were way out on the stairwell.
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you should know about your family. And the history you're a part of.
Stairwell over there. Or grate or whatever. Is she the main character? Yeah, she has protagonist protection. Technically that is true, Paige. Remember those chairs that were in those trees earlier?
Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
Magnus Chase? No, I haven't. What is it? What is this? Okay, this is also part of the... Thanks, man. I'm gonna go get some sleep, watch this later. Hey, it's really nice catching up with you there, Matt. Thanks for coming. I do this every Monday night if you feel like checking in. Except for next month. So I'm not doing it in October, but I might still do a couple things in October.
And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible. I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
Oof.
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils are mine. 2 had been my fault.
They all the same. Zerby, Lurby, Furby, Chirp. That's funny.
Sven built the house, but it was Edith who designed the cemetery.
So this comes at like the halfway point in the game. And you can see Molly, Calvin, Sven and Edie, Walter, and Barbara.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide.
There's the old house that sank.
Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
Yep, the original house that Odin came on when he was trying to transport it, it sank in the water, but Sven and Edie made it out all right.
Edie's
But
side was
Odin
always
went down
easier
with
for
the
me to
house.
understand.
Yeah, that was earlier.
But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from.
Don't try to sail a house.
Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better.
Let's see, Gregory, Sam, Gus. This is what's coming up.
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us. We never found Milton's body, so my mom insisted we were putting up a monument, not a tombstone. There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday.
Yep.
And find everything out for myself.
Literally, everyone in her family.
But looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
Say what?
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
I'll give you guys a hint. If you just did that at any point during the game, you would have known earlier.
They were both pretty intense.
So she's been talking to someone this whole time, writing in her journal, but now you know who she's writing for.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Edith Finch is a terrible mother. Why do you say that? Also, nice job, Connor. Can you guys hear that music at all?
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
I got you, Connor.
Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though. Aw.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
Hold still up.
Hey!
That's
Got
a
him.
keeper.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Don. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Don, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Don, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph?
Fine.
Last
Dawn
time I was
is
with my brother Calvin.
Edith's
That was a great trip.
mom.
Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire.
Dad!
Good eyes, Don. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Focus on your target. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Don, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Great shot, Don!
Got him.
I'm proud of you, Don. Always remember that, okay?
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Don. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told
That's a
me.
wicked mustache. Yep. Goodbye, Sam. Yeet. Yep. Another one. Climbing around, risk your own life if you want, but not your child. I mean, I see what you're saying there, Matt, but I mean, how else are you gonna get up there and find out?
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They
Oh
both
yeah,
lost
I see
a
what you
lot.
mean. Sam. So we got Gregory, Don, and Gus. And this is Gregory.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Gregory, it's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
See all his name on the side there? Pop some bubbles.
What his world was like. He reminded I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw. There's so much I don't understand about Gregory, about everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Yep. That'd be correct, Josh. After that, the what was it, Kay and Sam got divorced or whatever. Yeah. That one's a little more intense. Yeah, vague touch it. Oh, Paige, did you miss all that one? I'm sorry.
imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
Read about Gus. I'm getting there.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
Basically, Gregory wound up drowning after an accident where, like, the tub got replugged.
My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, "We don't need a stepmom," were the words that I
now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Whoa. All the people just disappeared.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger.
He's got some teenage angst.
The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Remember what I said earlier about those chairs?
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. And all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't, until we found you.
It's not a phase, Dad.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
So this was all their room. And I believe this is Dawn that has done all this. Or no, this is Sam. So Sam was in the military, and as you can see, he's very strict. Has a plan and everything. This is my favorite right here. Duties: Dawn, sweep trash; Gus, mop mow yard; Greg, be a baby. Now I gotta get up the wall.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get. Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
Back to Bible.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
So there's a lot of... Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't seen that one before. Luke 10, 25 through 37. I wonder which passage that one is. Oh, okay, that's... So the first reference is the parable of the Good Samaritan, and the second one is the parable of the prodigal son. Yeah, it doesn't go totally into what Dawn and her faith looked like, but clearly she had a heart for other people, both her and her husband, and faith was somehow integrated into that.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Lewis was born a year later.
We're getting higher in the house, and it's getting darker out.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
So Sanjay also died.
Edie was used to that.
Who is Edith's dad.
And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
So they, Dawn basically tried homeschooling her kids. Lewis rules. There's so many books. Are these actually organized? That's kind of fun. Wait, no they're not. That's an M. What is this? Making games with C++.
But it didn't last.
The normal was going to last, and it did not. She went to a Lutheran church, looks like. And, yep. That's what happened to Sanjay. Hundreds of relief volunteers are injured or dead after the effects of a second earthquake. This is Edith giving her presentation on the curse. Some interesting things there.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
I'd say the additions are getting a little sketchier.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
I really like the music in this part.
I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family.
So pay attention to that frog, or I'll talk about that frog later. This always confused me because there's footprints and it's like it goes up and it just disappears. So I tried to like read these newspapers and try and figure out all of these things. Try and figure out what actually happened to Milton. This is what I was talking about earlier with like having a loft. Man, this is the kind of loft I'd want. Or pretty similar.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Flip books are so cool. Okay.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
See you later, Paige. There's about 20 minutes left maybe in this, so you can always go back and watch the end. Or be sure to check out the video too. I think it kind of dives into this a little bit. It's pretty fun. But yeah, hope everything goes well.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Hey, what's up, Jester Toby? How are you?
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room.
Only 2 more stories
until
left,
Mom
guys.
got him a job at the cannery.
Well, sort of. It'll make sense. We're getting really close to the end now. This is Lewis. You're good? Glad to hear it. We are currently playing through What Remains
Lewis's
of
room
Edith
smelled
Finch.
Very, very familiar. That part of him.
Wait, be right back. Alright. Okay, this is literally just a boat duct taped to the roof. Yeah, you're right, it is.
Together, but he was surprisingly bad at them.
Aw, man, he has a Wonderland Turbo. So well crafted. So Lewis is doing some stuff. Oh, I didn't notice this before.
He was so proud of being Indian. I think for him, it was a way to be something other than just a Finch.
Huh. Far out, dude. Oh, hey, thanks for the follow there, Jester Toby. It's pretty awesome of you. See what's up with Lewis.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
Fish chopping time. So this is the last story I talk about.
He kept working at the cannery.
Or not the last story I talk about. It's one of the
But
3
he
stories I
withdrew
talk about in my
himself.
video.
In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to
Wander.
I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats.
Bats.
And toads.
Toads. Oh my.
And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head.
I like this part.
But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then, daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
He don't stop.
Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first.
Getting bigger.
He told me he'd made a new friend.
Doggo.
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
doggo.
And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as
Those poor
reliable
guys
as
are
ever.
trying to get the fish in line, and it's just
Then
not
one day
working.
it struck him.
Oh, there they go.
That all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won.
Oh.
They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on. In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen.
Ooh.
The queen was on her own quest for
Sinister serpents.
sinister serpents.
It's a monster.
He followed the sound of her
Silver harp.
silver harp.
Is that all in Indian? All the pages?
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination.
Whoa. So many fish.
But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
I don't even know if I can grab that one.
For someone who'd never known success in the real world,
I think it's
it
kind of
was
stuck over there.
overwhelming.
Oh, there he goes.
And then it struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me.
We
It's hard
are
to argue
on Lewis currently. Okay. This is Edith's brother, who works at the cannery.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
That's a crazy operation.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
You got like a out-of-body experience going on here. Can I climb up this? That'd be kind of fun. Nope. Okay. Lewis is now looking at Lewis.
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting him.
It's Molly the cat. She's looking a little iffy, but that's alright.
His queen waited, holding his crown.
Palace is wild.
There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head. I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Ugh. That one's hard, too.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Just drifted so far from reality that he just hated his life so much.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed.
You see how many posters their mom printed off?
But I understand why we left.
This room is just... Compare this to the fridge downstairs, you know? This is just... Edie and her mom. Or Edith, rather. started packing everything. This is her mom's room.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Got some photos. She even left Sanjay's vest behind. This is interesting. O God, you have called your servants to ventures of which we cannot see the ending, by paths as yet untrodden, through perils unknown. Give us faith to go out with good courage, not knowing where we go, but only that your hand is leading us and your love supporting us, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. I wonder if that's wonder where that's from. I think that's just an old hymn, maybe. Huh. I'll maybe talk about that one a little bit at the end.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
So this is Edith's room, way at the top. There's a couple cool things in here, like all this paper mache of the house. People from Lewis's story. The boat. The deer, the frog, shark. Paintbrush, the helmet. Just kind of recapping all this stuff from earlier. But, yep. Here we go.
Last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
Well, that's not ideal.
I got turned around. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
There you go. That's it. Just a little creepy. Expected more. I mean, they already went through everyone in the journal. Yeah, it is a short game. At least for the grandma story. Well, basically, when they showed up, she was gone. Yeah, it is, most people I've played it with or talked to were a little bit... Oh, the low tide thing. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Most people I've talked to have just kind of been shocked by it. They've been kind of like, what? Like, what is this game? How did Edith die? It's not said explicitly, but she died in childbirth. Because at the end, when she's talking, you're playing through every time you play through somebody's life, it's kind of like their last moments, and that last part with like the weird looking tunnel thing was her giving birth to her son. What was the point of Edith going back to the house? She wanted her son to know about their family history because she was the last one alive. And so she went back to record it all for him to know. Yeah, it's a pretty wild game. It's very, very good at environmental storytelling. So she didn't already know? No, that was the whole point. That's why she's writing in her journal the whole time. It's because her mom had tried to keep it from her. But yeah, this game is really good about environmental storytelling. All those images keep popping up every now and then. This melody that's playing right now, that plays throughout the game. I liked it, but I wish it was like 2 hours longer. I mean, I could see maybe a little bit longer, but I think it's about the right length. I mean, that's me, but I feel like if you made it any longer, you'd kind of get, like, it's already heavy enough reading about all these people who died, but I feel like I missed some important details since the internet crashed. When did it crash at? I think it might have crashed around Milton. I mean, you can go back and watch them, but I don't think you missed too much. So if you guys want to know more about the game and a lot of the images and what they mean and stuff, then do go check out my video. But I'll give you a little bit of a brief rundown of kind of my thoughts on it. So this is a game that's, you play through it and it feels pretty heavy, like it's all about all this tragedy and stuff, and right before Milton, you would have missed a little bit of dialogue about her mom and a little bit of Lewis, probably. Anyway, so this game is all about tragedy. It's kind of sick watching in a lot of ways, but I really think the point of the game is to emphasize that we really don't know how long we'll be here, and that the point isn't about all the death, but it's about the life. It's about the lives that these people led rather than their horrific deaths. That's something that I think Walter illustrates pretty well, how he's tired of living in fear and realizes that even if he is going to die, that his life of hiding away is not worth living. That's something that Edith at the end talks about, telling her son to not be sad that she's gone, but to be grateful that any of us even have a chance to be here at all. You can see some of that. I didn't even talk about this in the video, but in that poem that's on the wall, that something about, like, you have called your servants to do to such and such, and part of that poem talks about you've called us to paths that we don't even know, but to be your servants, and that you'll guide us wherever we go. So there's definitely, like, there's a lot of like Christian undertones and stuff in it that I think are really cool. Yeah, that's all right, Josh. Hey, have a good week of school, man. I'll catch you later. I don't know when your next race is, but hopefully I can come to one of them. So yeah. I really like this game a lot. It's a... I mean, so I've played it 4 times and I still think it's a good game. but it is a little, especially the first time through. I think you don't catch on to things as much, but I think it is a really good game. Hey, we got done in under 2 hours, actually. I bet that means we finished it in about... So we didn't start right away. Oh, wait. No, because we had that crash halfway. Or not halfway. I think we've been going for about a little over 2.5 hours. I agree, even though I felt a little confused by the ending. Yeah, the ending you gotta stop and think about for a little bit. But really it is in the end you know, her son is the last Finch alive, and it's a call for him to for how he ought to live, you know. It's kind of one of those games where, like, if you liked it, you'll want to play through it again to try and understand it better. But if you were kind of like, then that's probably, like, about the extent of the game that you'll play. Is just play through it once and be kind of confused. And actually, remember that part with Milton where I mentioned that, like, frog painting? So there is a pseudo sequel to this game that's called The Unfinished Swan. I think I showed you it, Matthew. It's that one with, like, where you, like, throw the paint to, like, reveal what's next. That game is also a little over 2 hours, but it I don't really know how far it goes into it at all, but it is supposed to be kind of like Milton's journey. Oh, I showed Tabor it? Okay. Yeah, that one's kind of supposed to be like Milton's journey. So maybe we'll have to play through that at some point. But yeah. So I mentioned it earlier, but I'm not streaming in October. I rephrase. I'm not playing any games in October, which means I'm not going to stream any games. Now you've got me curious. All right. Well, hopefully we'll do that next month then. If I have projects to work on, or maybe like I'll try and stream at least once in October, still on like a Monday night, to just kind of hang out for a little bit and maybe brainstorm like some video ideas or something, but it won't be gaming. And then there's a very decent chance that I will be selling my PS4 and upgrading to a PS5, which means we could be playing through some new games, like brand new games, which would be pretty awesome. We still have a ton of old games we haven't even gotten through yet. Like A Plague Tale, I still really want to play that. How much were you planning on selling it for? Whatever I could get from GameStop. Probably. I don't know. I would... GameStop wouldn't give me a super great deal, but I'd probably sell it for, 170 maybe, something like that. Basically, if I sold it and all of my remotes, I'd want to try and get about roughly half off of a PS5. Yeah, dude, there's for real. Hang on. I need a... Let me... Because and on top of that, I still have PS Now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mm-hmm. 9, 10. I probably still have at least... I have like at least 10 games on PS4 that I still want to stream. What I'll probably do though is wait till I know all my stuff can transfer to PS5 and like get it all transferred, and then go from there. So yeah, Matthew, I mean, if you're interested, I'd be willing to sell it to you. Probably be roughly a couple $100 probably, but you'd get 4 remotes with it, and I don't know, I could maybe give you a game or two to get rolling with it also, but that's totally up to you. Anywho, yeah, that's basically gonna do it for today. I'm very interested. We'll have to discuss it more later when you're actually ready to sell it. Hey, let's go. Yeah, I'll hit you up. I mean, it'd be kind of nice being like, oh yeah, now Matthew's got it, and you guys can have fun with it. But yeah, I think my computer's about to die, so I have to say see you later for now. All right, bye.